Hi all, this is Dr. Sage Breslin, and this is Wisdom Wednesdays. You know, it's been a challenging space in the United States here for the last few months, and I think that that has become more challenging for a lot of us as time moves forward. I have had lots of conversations with folks who are considering whether or not they want to remain in the United States at this point in time. Many making fairly large lifestyle changes and just contemplating what is going to be best for them and their family. And I started to think about the notion of motivation. What moves us to act? And, I think that's very much related to the reason why, right? The reason why we do things. And I was thinking about how in toxic relationships, and particularly in folks who may be feeling trapped or stuck in a relationship, personal or professional, and what moves people, what motivates people to finally exit. And this is like that, like the $64 million question, not the $64,000 question anymore. Because if we know that, if we can press that button, of course, then we can get people to safety. We can get people to move on into healthier lives. So I was considering my own life and my own circumstances that were so dire now many years ago. And what prompted me to finally move on, finally choose to safeguard myself and my children. And in all honesty, it was my children. It was that I finally could see how much it was impacting them to be in these very, very toxic circumstances. And while I didn't know, how I was going to manage it all, that's really what motivated me to finally get out. I needed for them to not be sacrificial lambs. I needed for them to have a safe home. I needed for them to be able to grow and thrive as adults. And that became the imperative. Now, and I was thinking, like, this is true for many people in violent relationships, that it's when the violence finally affects children that people who have just felt so trapped, so stuck, so disabled, so impaired exit. They do it for the kids. And, then I thought about just the whole notion of, like, in my business, like, why do I do what I do? And I could give you a very complex description. But it's the same reason why. It's the same reason why I finally allowed myself to exit. It's my children. And I think for many of us, our children are the future. Our children are future leaders and doctors and lawyers and service people, and they are our future. They are our legacy. And I know that I do what I do to bring hope to all. And that has to start with myself and my children. And it wasn't an easy road. It really wasn't. Damn hard road. But I did it. And I look at who they are now as people. And I could not be prouder. I'm so proud of the people they're becoming. And it's not that all of those impacts are gone. That would be glorious, right? Just leave and then your kids are perfectly happy again. Yeah, no, it doesn't, 11 years later, that's not the case. There are still definite scars that each of them is working through, but they're working through it. They're working through it because they can, because they're safe and happy and healthy. And they are creating relationships that are safe and happy and healthy. So if you're in toxic circumstances, if you've got a toxic boss or somebody on your team, if you've got the toxic neighbor or family member or lover or spouse, and you're feeling as if you can't move, Like, I get that. When you are disabled by what has happened to you, it feels like pushing a boulder up Mount Everest to leave. But if you could be fully supported, guided, and mentored through that, would it make a difference? It did for me. That's how I finally got out. I tapped into a community of women and men who helped me stay on that path, that straight path, to find myself again. And now everything I do is really designed, especially for people in leadership who are feeling impaired and disabled by the circumstances that they're in or the relationships they're in, to really help them come home to themselves again. And, not everybody is in a leadership role in their mind, at least. I think we're all in leadership roles, leadership in the family, in the community, in our jobs. But if you're not feeling like that resonates with you, maybe it's just being able to access some hope that things will change. And they will. They will. Right now, I think we're probably experiencing a significant amount of pain and angst and anguish, and that will change over time as well. And the way it's going to change is if we step into our leadership roles whole, focused, grounded, right? With our souls back in the driver's seat. So if that's something that resonates with you, I will definitely leave some ways that you can work with me and work with my team in order to really find your way home so that you can make the kind of impact that's necessary now. This is Dr. Sage Breslin, and this is Wisdom Wednesdays.